in history.
I'm happy to announce today that MCI, WorldCom, and Sprint have made a definitive agreement to merge our two companies.
Merger after merger after merger. Tonight, the Pac-Man theory. Will there be any small companies left? He never hesitates to speak his mind.
Judge me by the work that we're trying to do, not a feeding frenzy of media so that you can get ratings and make money.
His approval rating dropping faster than a body slam.
Well, if I went on public opinion, I wouldn't even be here as governor, would I?
How tolerant can the people of Minnesota be of Jesse? Ali, a boxing legend. Ali, about to enter the ring for the first time.
Do you worry about the punishment that you could take?
Worry? No, I don't.
A broken nose.
Then I just have a broken nose. I think my nose is cute. It will look cute to the right. It will look cute to the left. It doesn't matter.
Like father, like daughter. A CNN Newsstand exclusive. CNN Newsstand with anchor Stephen Frazier and Carol Lynn in Atlanta.
Good evening. Welcome to Newsstand. Thanks for joining us.
Our top story, the urge to merge.
It's the priciest corporate buyout ever. What does it mean for us? Today, MCI WorldCom Incorporated announced a $129 billion deal to take over the Sprint Corporation. The new company will be called WorldCom and will have more than $50 billion in annual revenue and will serve 40 million customers in 200 countries. What's remarkable about today's deal is that it's only the latest in a string of giant acquisitions that began more than a year ago. We'll get to the trend in a moment. First, details of today's announcement.
The combination of MCI, WorldCom, and Sprint creates nothing less than the most dynamic, most capable, most growth-oriented, and most fully integrated communications company in the world, and I am not blushing when I say that.
The new company will put together MCI WorldCom's high-speed data and international operations with Sprint's mobile wireless operations and internet service.
Each of us had the opportunity to go it alone, but together we will be more effective competitors, and the opportunity for long-term success is far greater. We're positioned for leadership in the four fastest-growing areas of the telecommunications industry: data, internet, wireless, and international.
If regulators approve today's deal, WorldCom will control almost one-third of the U.S. long-distance market. It would be a powerful rival to industry leader AT&T, which has also been acquiring companies. A $60 billion deal for Media One earlier this year, and last year, $53.5 billion for TCI, Telecommunications Incorporated. Big acquisitions, but with so many mergers this year, they don't even make the top 5. Here are the biggest deals. Number 1, today's MCI WorldCom and Sprint. The second is in energy. Exxon's planned $80 billion purchase of Mobil, announced last year. Number 3 is in financial services. Travelers' $72.5 billion acquisition of Citicorp in 1998. Telecommunications again in 4th place, the union between Baby Bell companies, SBC Communications and Ameritech, $62 billion. And in 5th, another deal done last year, $61 billion alliance between Nations Bank and Bank America. Sometimes it seems like an endless game of Pac-Man, businesses gobbling other businesses. While they didn't make the top 5, other recent gobbles include Viacom's acquisition of CBS, Dow Chemical's marriage with Union Carbide, and Alcoa's wrap-up of Reynolds. The total value of mergers in the United States so far this year alone more than $1 trillion, on a pace with last year's record, $1.6 trillion after 12 months. So why all these mergers now, and what does it mean? If there are fewer companies making cars and refining oil, distributing food, or controlling our means of communicating, do we benefit or lose out? Fortune magazine's deputy managing editor Eric Schoenberg has been asking the same questions for tonight's Reporter's Notebook.
What's going on here is a continuation of a trend that we saw start last year, perhaps, and even a little bit before that. The world is awash in capacity. We have more banks, more retail stores, more produce, more hogs, more bricks and mortar than we need. combine the need for consolidation with wide availability of money to do it, and you're going to get mega merger after mega merger, and that's what we're seeing now. I think it's a product of globalization. There is so much more competition from all over the world for people's dollars, and it's just very hard to compete on a global scale unless you really are big. The big battle in the telecom industry is who's going to control the pipes that bring voice data into your home. So MCI WorldCom, for example, didn't have much of a cellular business. They got that from Sprint, and that allows them to round out that part of their product portfolio. There will always be a place for the mom and pop, for the entrepreneur, for the creative, driving business force that really supplies a lot of the energy in this economy. The consumer benefits from competition. To the extent that mergers create more efficient organizations that can compete more efficiently and lower prices, that's good for the consumer. To the extent that they lower consumers' choices and lower competition, that's not a good thing. I expect there to be plenty more mergers in the telecom business. We're certainly not done yet, and the needs that were out there for these businesses to expand and consolidate and control, as much of the field as they can remain.
Today's telecom merger wasn't the only business headline. New signals from the Fed were felt from Washington to Wall Street. Details coming up in our Moneyline update.
Now we go from our reporter's notebook to the politician's playbook. Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura went on the offensive today. His approval ratings are down 20 points since he told Playboy magazine that organized religion was, quote, a sham and a crutch for weak-minded people. So Ventura announced a plan to revitalize everything from education to housing in his state, and not very gently told everyone to pay attention.
Whatever comments I made, I do 3 to 5 interviews a day. I do 25 interviews a week, which translates to probably 1,000 a year. And how one interview that you want to focus on is going to somehow develop or create. That interview has nothing to do with how I govern. Nothing whatsoever. Judge me by my policies, judge me by my commissioners, and judge me by the work that we're trying to do, not a feeding frenzy of media so that you can get ratings and make money. If I went on public opinion, I wouldn't even be here as governor, would I? Because public opinion said I couldn't win. So therefore, if I followed public opinion, why would I have ran? This is our plan. This is the plan of my administration to govern the state of Minnesota over the next term of my session as governor. This is our big plan. This is the things we want to accomplish and the focus that all of my commissioners and the 25 different departments of the state of Minnesota are getting focused on governing.
Governor Ventura was announcing part 1 of what his administration is calling its big plan for Minnesota. But how can any plan compete with the controversy that keeps following Governor Ventura? Let's bring in Jim Ragsdale, political reporter for the St. Paul Pioneer Press newspaper. Jim has been covering the governor's every move of late. Jim, that probably feels more like a headlock than an assignment these days.
It's always a great pleasure to cover this governor, believe me.
Well, taking a look at this latest statewide poll, which shows that his popularity has gone from 73% to 54%, are people getting tired of his in-your-face style?
Well, he's had a series of kind of extracurricular events that have attracted a lot of criticism. His decision to return to the wrestling ring for a pretty large paycheck, and his kind of some of the revelations, the senior revelations in his autobiography, which also was a money-making deal, and now interview in Playboy in which he said some things that are pretty tough to explain. I think the combined effect of these is to draw attention away from what he wants to put the attention on, which is the business of governing the state.
Well, now, he told Playboy magazine that people are looking for the truth, but the truth may not be what they really want to hear. Is that the case with the populace in Minnesota?
I don't know. I think people do appreciate it when he says something that makes you squirm, but yet that has an element of purpose to it, such as and I know a lot of people disagreed with him, but such as when he was arguing with a woman on the front steps of our Capitol who identified herself as a single mother and described her problems, and the governor said basically, well, you should have thought of these things before you decide to have the children. Now, in that case, he said a very provocative thing. A lot of people criticized him, but
Jim, he's also saying things like he wants to legalize prostitution, that if he could be reincarnated, he wants to come back as a woman's bra, 38 double D. I mean, he also says it's his own personal opinion, but is he entitled to those personal opinions when he's really trying to get a message out about his big plan?
Well, I mean, I guess that's up to the public. A lot of those comments are pretty hard, like I said, pretty hard to defend. I think sometimes he provokes with an intent, such as a comment about the single mother, and other times he simply provokes to provoke, I think.
So is it more about Governor Ventura, the personality, or is he really serious about being a politician?
I think he's serious about it. I think he does believe that honesty, which he defines as simply, I think, saying what is on your mind at that moment, which may not, under consideration, have been the right thing to say. I think he feels that is something that people aren't quite ready for.
Well, we'll see. His administration is just beginning. Thank you so much, Jim Ragsdale, for joining us on NewsStand.
You're welcome.
NewsStand will be right back after this break.
Still ahead. The gloves may be a size smaller, but the will is just as big as her father's.
Like I always say, I'm sure he has effects from boxing, but even if somebody said, yes, he got Parkinson's from boxing, that would not stop me from boxing.
Ali, the sequel. But next,
my fellow Americans,
this president addresses the nation on television. So did this one.
I'm confident that it will have the support of every American.
A look back at more than a half-century of the Commander-in-Chief on camera when CNN NewsStand returns.
Today, the first network to deliver the promise of the Internet is complete. With the bandwidth to change everything, your world will never be the same again. Ride the light. Quest.
I think it's a wonderful time to practice medicine. It certainly has changed more in this 10 years than in the last 100 years. There's more older people to take care of. Technology is much more expensive. But I strongly believe that in the future, American healthcare will be the finest in the world.
Today's managed healthcare, there's a lot to feel good about.
And that's really why I'm here, to preserve this national treasure that we have called healthcare.
Flight 437 went down an hour ago.
I'm telling you, she was on your airplane. Harrison Ford, Kristen Scott Thomas.
Are you investigating something?
They were sitting together. Your husband, my wife. Random Hearts, rated R. Opens everywhere Friday.
Oh, we could put another desk in here. What? Hey, what?
Some growth strategies are better than others. How's yours? CPAs. Never underestimate the value.
We don't need a financial babysitter.
We're declaring our independence. We're realistic but hopeful.
We'll find our own way.
We work harder for ourselves than anyone else will. We're pioneers.
$7.95 stock trades, low margin interest rates, comprehensive research, shorttrade.com, a smart tool for smart investors.
The AIM Investor Pop Quiz. The road to retirement should be paved with lottery tickets, pork belly futures, lots of vacations. Have peace of mind. Call your financial consultant about AIM mutual funds.
To our top stories now. First, overseas, and the scene of Britain's worst train accident in more than a decade. At least 26 people are dead, another 160 injured after two commuter trains smashed into each other during rush hour. Survivors recall frantically crawling out broken windows and hearing people screaming, still trapped inside the wreckage. An investigation is underway. Last week it was Japan. Now South Korea is dealing with a nuclear accident. Government officials say radioactive water leaked inside a plant last night, exposing 22 workers to small amounts of radiation. In the rugged foothills of northern Colorado, there's still no trace of Jared Atadero. The 3-year-old has been the focus of a massive search since he disappeared Saturday while hiking with a church group. Rescuers have brought in more dogs, even divers, to help in the search, which they plan to continue tomorrow. After 45 years, the murder case that inspired The Fugitive TV show is back in the hands of a coroner. The remains of Marilyn Shepard were exhumed today in Cleveland, Ohio, so DNA samples could be taken. Her husband, Dr. Sam Shepard, was convicted of killing her, then acquitted. The family is suing to clear his name now, saying evidence points to someone else as the killer. Now available to the public, 445 hours of tapes from the Nixon White House. The recordings were released today by the National Archives. On the tapes, Richard Nixon is heard worrying about leaks, ordering aides to discredit his enemies, and slamming anti-war protesters as rabble.
Richard Nixon installed that secret taping system in the Oval Office to secure his place in history. A more powerful route there was opened 52 years ago tonight, when Harry S. Truman became the first president to speak to the American public on television. CNN's Garrick Utley now on that medium and the messages from the Oval Office.
The screen was tiny, the image fuzzy, but there was a president speaking to the nation.
The situation in Europe is grim and forbidding.
Not that President Truman was speaking to many people. Only a few thousand viewers on the East Coast could watch him, while the rest of the country listened to the radio, as Truman asked the public to support food aid for a Europe still devastated by World War II.
I know every American feels in his heart that we must help to prevent starvation and distress among our fellow men in other countries.
By the early 1950s, television screens had become larger and were in more than 20 million homes. Television and those who appeared on it, like Lucille Ball, became new members of the American family. President Dwight Eisenhower saw the power of that and understood that he needed to learn how to use the camera and the Oval Office to get his message across.
The same evening from the White House, the president speaks to the people.
I have decided that if the Republican Party chooses to renominate me, I shall accept that nomination.
Eisenhower hired Robert Montgomery, a former actor and television producer, to be the first White House media advisor. In 1961, Eisenhower's successor would not need a coach.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
In John F. Kennedy, the man, the medium, and the moment met and changed the presidency. Ted Sorensen was a close advisor to President Kennedy.
Kennedy knew that television was his way of reaching the American people directly without it being sanitized or otherwise changed by the print press.
And in the Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy made what may have been the most high-risk speech ever from the Oval Office.
It shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union.
On my wall is a picture of the president and me in the cabinet room just minutes before, going over the speech, making last-minute edits and changes. When a president speaks, and particularly in foreign policy, words make a difference. In most domestic matters, it's actions that count.
The University of Alabama campus at Tuscaloosa.
Action like that in Alabama in 1963, when Governor George Wallace stood in the schoolhouse door to block court-ordered integration. Kennedy mobilized the National Guard. Wallace gave way, and once again, all eyes were on the TV screen and the Oval Office.
We have a right to expect that the Negro community will be responsible will uphold the law, but they have a right to expect that the law will be fair.
As television turned to color, as the pictures on the screen turned uglier, the political casualties reached into the Oval Office and provided one of the most stunning television moments of the presidency.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
Good evening. This is the 37th time I have spoken to you from this office.
It was also Richard Nixon's last. David Gergen was a speechwriter for Nixon at the end.
The cameras were never kind to Nixon, but he had a very, very clear-cut vision of what television should be. He thought it was extraordinarily important as a weapon for gathering public support for a period of time. So he was very, very calculating about when he went to the country to speak.
And you will be in our prayers. Thank you very much.
Just as each president has tried to sell his program to the nation, each has developed his own style to communicate it.
This talk, which the broadcast networks have agreed to bring to you, is one of several steps that I will take to keep in close touch with the people of our country.
Sometimes it fails.
About our plans for the coming months.
Sometimes it succeeds brilliantly.
I warn that there should be no place on earth where terrorists can rest and train and practice their deadly skills. I meant it.
For Reagan, the speech was life for him, and all else was waiting.
Reagan's mastery of television went beyond the camera and the teleprompter.
The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave. The Challenger crew was pulling us into the future.
There was a story to be told, even when it was sad.
As they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God.
A different president, a different style. Bill Clinton uses the White House bully pulpit in his own way. Mike McCurry was President Clinton's press secretary.
Bill Clinton has not been particularly effective at that straight, head-on shot from the Oval Office, and it's interesting why. He's much better when he's taking from his audience and giving back from his audience. He needs a real live group of people there.
And when the president does not face a live audience, when he is speaking from the Oval Office?
So it's always utter pandemonium, and with Bill Clinton, because he's, very conscious of what is being said, he's editing and changing right up to the last minute, so you never know what's going to be in the teleprompter at the end of the moment. It's no place for the faint-hearted.
In the more than 50 years that presidents have been speaking from the White House to the people on television, the size of the screen has grown larger from the 9 inches in Harry Truman's time to whatever a home entertainment center can handle today. But has television similarly enhanced the presidency itself, or has its reach and power in some ways diminished it?
In the end, television has been a Faustian bargain for presidents. People no longer, they're so ever-present in our lives that they're too familiar, and they no longer have that kind of quality of speaking from on high.
But do we want our presidents to speak from on high? Bill Clinton may be the model of a new postmodern, informal, egalitarian way of speaking to the public. Or he may just be Bill Clinton speaking to us in his way, as his successors will no doubt speak to us in theirs.
Coming up, don't touch that dial. Stay by your TV. This fighter's name's not Muhammad. It's Layla Ali.
It's my name, so I don't feel that I'm exploiting anything.
When CNN Newsstand returns.
I like to think of myself as an innovator who started a company, Dell Computer, around an idea that everybody should be doing business directly with one another, one-to-one, with no barriers. To me, that's the power of the internet. We'd like to show you how to empower your business in ways you'd never imagined. I'm Michael Dell, and it's our reason for being.
Be direct. Dell. Dell servers use Intel Pentium 3 processors.
Hi, I'm Doug Flutie, pro football player and father of an autistic child. I started the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation to help less fortunate families of autistic children get the support they need. Here's a way you can help. Just dial 1010-220 All calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents, and 1010-220 will make a donation to the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation every time you use it. So dial 1010-220, get up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents, and help some great kids at the same time. It's a win-win situation.
I believe in taking the time to be right.
Taking the time
because
to be right.
it's a lot faster.
Because it's a lot faster
wrong.
than being wrong.
I believe in taking my clients
I believe in
seriously.
taking my clients seriously.
And myself less
and
so.
myself.
I believe integrity doesn't hinder performance.
It is performance.
It is performance.
I believe we are driven to succeed
Porque no estamos dispuestos.
because we are unwilling to fail. I work for J.P. Morgan.
Trabajo en JP Morgan.
I work for J.P. Morgan.
Gail and Lynn both rely on voicemail when they're out of the office, so both of their pagers tell them when they get one. But since Lynn's pager doesn't tell her who left the voicemail, she has to check every single one. But Gail has SkyTel, the voice messaging service that tells her whom a message is from and if it's urgent, so she can tell when it's important or when it's not. Which means that while Lynn's on the phone, Gail's on to dessert. SkyTel puts you in control. Can your pager do that?
I hate grapes. Green and purple and seedless.
Sure, they taste great. But on a supermarket floor, they can make for nasty slips and falls.
Hi, I'm Al Mangoni, a safety specialist with Liberty Mutual Insurance. There's no reason the supermarket floor should ever be a dangerous place. So we're working on non-slip flooring and other materials to keep you safe.
At Liberty Mutual, we have hundreds of experts helping you live a safer, more secure life. It's insurance in action.
I also hate bananas.
MCI, WorldCom, and Sprint may have been tying up the phone lines today, but Wall Street's attention was on interest rates.
Here's Tony Guida in New York with our Moneyline update. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Carol. The ship of Wall Street was cruising today, its sails billowing with triple-digit gains until the iceberg appeared. The iceberg was Alan Greenspan's Federal Reserve, which announced that no, it is not raising interest rates now, but warned it may raise them soon. That's when the ship of Wall Street sank. The Dow erased an early 100-point gain, skidded as many as 123 points in the other direction, and ended the day with just a modest loss of 1/2 of a point. The NASDAQ managed to eke out a small gain. It edged up 3 points to finish at 27.99. But the Fed's concern over rising inflation and an overheating economy rattled bond traders today. The 30-year Treasury down almost 1.25 points, the yield up to 6.17%. If you're getting seasick riding the equity and bond roller coasters, maybe you'd like something more stable. How about gold? The price of gold soared $8 today to $326 an ounce. 15 European central banks recently decided they'd had enough of weak gold prices, so they agreed to delay bullion sales for 5 years. It's working. The price of gold is up just 26% in just 1 month. Trouble is brewing at the Cracker Barrel again. A federal lawsuit charges that African-American employees don't get the top positions in that company. The NAACP's case is a major threat both to Cracker Barrel's public image and its financial standing. CNN's Aaron Roston has more on the story.
The NAACP charges that discrimination is part of the way Cracker Barrel Old Country stores do business across the United States.
There is a deep-rooted problem with Cracker Barrel that speaks about the bigoted nature of their practices.
Cracker Barrel owns and runs 406 Southern-style stores and restaurants nationwide, a $1.5 billion business. According to the federal lawsuit, African Americans are relegated primarily to back-of-the-house jobs, like dishwashers or prep cooks. 32-year-old Sandra Keel works as a dishwasher at a Cracker Barrel store in Florida, as did her mother.
It seems to me that they don't want no blacks in that restaurant.
The lawsuit charges that some managers said Cracker Barrel was a white company, and they allegedly grew concerned when they said stores became, quote, too dark. Marilyn Hawk, a former employee, says in one case she protested when a manager refused to hire African Americans.
You can't hire somebody because they're black. He said, Marilyn, you're a Yankee, you're from up north, you don't know what you're talking about.
The company says it will fight the lawsuit. It calls the charges false and distorted. They do not present an accurate portrayal of our company. And the company says, we open doors of opportunity and advancement for people of all races and colors. Cracker Barrel has faced controversy before. In 1991, it implemented and then quickly dropped a policy of firing homosexual workers. The NAACP says the purpose of this lawsuit is chiefly to force change upon the company. Currently, there are 12 plaintiffs named in the suit, but if it is certified as a class action suit, lawyers say thousands more could join. Aram Roston, CNN, Atlanta.
And that's our Moneyline update. Once again, here's Stephen Fraser in Atlanta.
Tony, thank you. Now, Cool Digs, our look at executive workspaces. Millions of people just can't help falling in love with tonight's office, but this warning to suspicious minds, it's not what you think. Is this the line to see the boss? On the way in, a message on the door, no loafing. The boss means business. Time stands still in this office, only fools rush in. Nothing much has changed here since the 70s. On the desk, a handwritten letter from the boss, a business pitch about a possible airplane purchase. The company owned a few. One was a jet named after his granddaughter. Everything preserved in its place. Ideal room temperature, 68 degrees. An old-fashioned pencil sharpener, even a dictaphone. The CEO's chair, made famous during a 1960 press conference held by his son, a newly discharged soldier. Taking care of business were the boss and two secretaries, one of them a cousin. Over here in the filing cabinets, bills, insurance, correspondence from fans, TV specials. 3 of them stand among the most highly rated specials of their time. Is that a moon? No, a lamp. Keep on shining. A 90s concept, unisex bathrooms. This one comes with a warning, though. He or she, but one at the time. On the secretary's desk, doodles on the desk blotter, a bust of her cousin. Over here in the inbox, love letters. Return to sender? No. Fondly answered with loving you. In here, piles of newsletters, even sheet music. The boss's employer sold more than 1 billion record units worldwide. Where it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, this boss tried to make sure the money didn't go, go, go. He had a reputation for being tight. So whose office is part of a pilgrimage? Take a seat on this couch and mull it over. The answer when we come back.
Weeknights at 11. It's a fun, fast-paced, and smarter approach to sports news. Join Fred and Vince on Sports Tonight. Weeknights at 11 on CNN.
It's found in the healing power of laughter, in the comfort of understanding, the joy of a happy ending. It's the promise of giving, the hope in a child's eyes, the security of a mother's arms. It's a gentle touch, a warm smile, an encouraging voice. It's our enduring belief in the human spirit and the little things that matter.
This is the coast that's cherished by the tribe that built the casino, that created the fund, that gives to the program, that gathers the people, that clean up the coast.
Cleaning up Oregon's beaches and rivers in a partnership with Solve. Another example of giving back to Oregonians by the Grand Ronde Tribe and Spirit Mountain Community Fund.
Early Edition with Carol Lynn and Leon Harris. Weekdays on CNN.
We're not relying on the government.
We're not relying on the company. We're not relying on a big fat inheritance.
We trade online.
We're betting on ourselves.
$7.95 stock trades, no margin interest rates, comprehensive research, SureTrade.com, a smart tool for smart investors.
Flexible metal frame. Flex-On by Marshawn.
Convenient paperless e-ticket at NWA.com. An e-service center check-in at the airport. Together, they make your life a little simpler. Select your seat online at nwa.com.
So who is the boss who sorted all that fan mail? He's Vernon Presley, Elvis's father. Vernon and his secretaries handled all of Elvis's personal business, his correspondence and fan mail, through all the years that Elvis lived at Graceland. Vernon Presley passed away in 1979. His office is part of the official tour of Graceland and is seen by more than 600,000 visitors every year. This weekend in Las Vegas, Elvis Presley Enterprises will auction off 2,000 items from Graceland, including Elvis's 6th grade report card. He got a B in music. Proceeds go to a foundation that helps homeless families in Memphis.
Now we go from the father of one famous name to the daughter of another. In some ways, Layla Ali is like a typical 21-year-old, just starting a career and trying to follow in her father's footsteps. But with a career like boxing and a father like Muhammad Ali, she's fighting expectations few 21-year-olds ever confront. NewsStand teamed up with CNN Sports Illustrated to bring you Tom Rinaldi's exclusive report.
The rhythm of the speed bag doesn't know her name and doesn't care. It keeps time with a dream few of us could understand. Why would you want life to be a fight, pain to be a priority, if it didn't have to be? Maybe your name isn't Ali.
You start with shadow boxing, and then you hit the mitts. I do a speed bag, a heavy bag, jump rope. I always got in little scuffles when I was younger. You know, just being Muhammad Ali's daughter, people are always going to want to test you, you know, and I've always been the one to take it on and not want to back down. So I've gotten into some situations.
For Layla Ali, the boxing ring is a 400-square-foot microscope where the world can watch Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter trying to follow in his footsteps. The next to last of Ali's 9 children, Layla may have been fawned over by her father as a baby, but her mother has been the dominant presence in her life. In 1984, her parents divorced. Layla was 7 years old. Veronica Anderson, Layla's mother, believes the boxing might really be about something else. She hints it's about bonding, about a daughter reaching out to her father.
I think that she probably subconsciously still angry at me for getting a divorce. And I sometimes wonder if some of that anger might be coming through, you know, through the boxing and just having to express that rage some way.
Do you need your father's approval?
No. No.
Why not?
My father hasn't always been there for it because my parents, you know, when my mother divorced my father, I was really young and I've always lived with my mother. So she's really the one whose support I need. Now, it would be nice because I'm going into a sport that my dad paved the way, you know, so it would be nice if I had his support. And, you know, I pretty much just have to go forward regardless of what kind of support I get, you know, because this is what I want to do. I know how determined she is. She's got her father's blood. You know, once she makes up her mind, that's it. And I know that she's training very well, and I'm going to be there.
Muhammad Ali is, of course, larger than sport. He is essential to the vocabulary of the 20th century.
It's a TKO decision for Cassius Clay.
Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali and then became a gold medal winner, a Vietnam War protester, a 3-time world heavyweight champion. He told the world he was the greatest of all time before anyone even believed him. Note this example from the Jack Parr Show.
This kid fights great. He's got speed and endurance. But if you decide to fight him, increase your endurance.
At 21, boxing for less than a year, Layla may not be her own prophet and poet. But does she share that Ali pride?
Anybody who knows boxing is going to look at me and say, that girl has talent.
He talks a great deal. He brags indeed of a powerful punch and blinding speed.
I'm strong. You know what I mean? So I can knock somebody out with one punch.
I'll be pecking and a-poking, pouring water on his smoking.
Most hurt I've been in the gym is when I kicked the heavy bag and hurt my big toe. That's it.
Do you worry about the punishment that you could take?
Worry? No. I don't.
A broken nose.
Then I just have a broken nose. I think my nose is cute. It will look cute to the right. It will look cute to the left. It doesn't matter.
The same can't be said about her father. Muhammad Ali once fought 13 rounds of a title bout with a broken jaw. At times, he used suffering as strategy to wear out an opponent. Now 57, he suffers from Parkinson's disease, his speech a whisper, his hands constantly trembling. There is, at the least, the possibility, and more likely the probability, that boxing hastened her father's condition. He has told her he doesn't want her to get hurt. With such an example so close, why take the risk? Do you think there is a link?
Like I always say, I'm sure he has effects from boxing, but even if somebody said, yes, he got Parkinson's from boxing, that would not stop me from boxing.
Why not?
You know, my father took a lot of blows, you know what I mean? And if that was the reason, then I would probably say, okay, well, that's why. I'm still going to do what I want to do. Every fighter doesn't end up with Parkinson's. You see what I'm saying?
At 5'10", 168 pounds, Ali has the physical foundation. Now her trainers are trying to develop her talent and harness her work ethic. They respect her potential, even believe she can be a champion. But still, they worry.
I can't take it, man. Now I know what my mom went through all the years that I was fighting. It's like, you know, I watched her one day in here, and I watched her sparring, and she got hit. I mean, with a good shot. Wow. I was like, oh, my God. I mean, that's my girl.
The first thing I think when I get hit was, wow, that didn't hurt. So I actually, when I get hit in the gym and I say, God, he hit me with a good body shot, I'm like, God, that was great. And everyone looks at me like, this girl's crazy.
Women's boxing may be the ultimate undercard to the world of sports. With more than 500 professional women's boxers, the field's top competitor, Christy Martin, might earn as much as $200,000 a fight. For others, it's scraping by in as little as $100 a round.
So without further ado, I introduce Layla Ali.
And Ali entering the ring could carry the entire sport closer to the mainstream or stunt its growth.
Well, I think it is very dangerous when someone like Layla Ali comes into the sport, because she's going to have a lot of media attention. She's going to be scrutinized more than any other woman fighter, really, because they're going to have high expectations. So therefore, if she falters and she doesn't live up to the billing, then it's going to be difficult for her, and it's also going to, in turn, hurt women's boxing.
Are you exploiting the Ali name?
It's my name, so I don't feel that I'm exploiting anything. You know, what would they say if I tried to move out of the state and use another name? You know, then they say, well, why'd you do that? Why didn't you just say you're Ali's daughter? I mean, I can't worry about what anyone has to say.
Boxing careers all begin in places like this, usually blessed by the cover of obscurity. For Layla Ali, who will carry perhaps the most famous name on the planet with her, and all the pressure that implies, she's yet to even fight once professionally. She knows that. What she doesn't know at this point is whether her father will be there ringside to see her professional debut.
From the things that she's told me, she wants her father to be there, of course. Anyone would, especially, you know, being the daughter of the greatest. Of course, she wants her father to be there. But if her father's not there, she's still going to go on and do everything she's supposed to. She's not going to be hurt. She may be a little disappointed.
My dad told me himself that he does support me. He supports what I'm doing, and he's going to be there for me. Now, it doesn't mean he has to like what I'm doing. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to feel comfortable at my fight, whether it be my first fight or my second fight. You know, but as a father, he's going to support me.
In the gym, where the lessons are paid for in punches, the question indents the heavy bag with every blow. For an Ali, how deep does the gene pool run?
There is an art to boxing, and if you can study it, and if you can know it, and you can be great at it, as my father was, and he is my father, that's what people do not need to forget, that it is hereditary. I may not be a boy, I'm a girl, but I definitely have the skill.
Well, Layla Ali's first fight is this Friday at the Turning Stone Casino in Verona, New York. Her opponent is a woman named April Fowler. Record 0-1. By the way, Layla Ali will not say how much she's being paid, but we're going to keep you posted on all of this.
A break now, and when we come back, Technophile. We have found a computer mouse that doesn't get all balled up.
Suffering from nasal congestion? A new kind of relief is about to be revealed, because now there's a medicated nasal spray without one single preservative. Introducing Natrovent, the only preservative-free nasal spray, for long-lasting relief in one single spray. Finally, somebody figured it out. New Natrovent. No preservatives, fast relief. Saline mist also available.
For the first time in history, a personal computer has been classified as a weapon by the U.S. government. With the power to perform over 1 billion calculations per second, the Pentagon wants to ensure that the new Power Macintosh G4 does not fall into the wrong hands. As for Pentium PCs, well, they're harmless.
The AIM Investor Pop Quiz. The first step to smarter investing is hoarding every penny, cutting up all your credit cards, seeing a financial consultant. Invest for the long term. Invest with discipline. AIM Mutual Funds.
Medicine is always changing. The managed care companies that did not change did not survive. With managed care, or HMO, a health maintenance organization, the word that I think a lot of us are forgetting is that word health. Health is what it's all about. And that's what we're trained for. Prevent disease before it occurs, because if you catch it late, then you have more cost. And so you want to provide better quality to the patient initially. Preventive medicine is probably the best it's ever been.
Today's managed health care. There's a lot to feel good about.
So I like managed care because I can treat people earlier.
In a perfect world,
Are you investigating something?
they never would have met.
They were sitting together. Your husband, my wife.
Harrison Ford, Kristen Scott Thomas, in Random Hearts. Join Jim Murray and Lauren Sidney for a special interview with Harrison Ford on CNN Showbiz Today. You could win a romantic getaway.
I was wondering if you'd come.
Look for details in Entertainment Weekly or visit the Random Hearts webpage at CNN.com. In theaters October 8th.
Nothing without control. Pirelli Top.
Technophile now, our look at new gadgets. Tonight should serve as a reminder, don't fall into the trap of thinking experts cannot build a better mouse. Here's Rick Lockridge with our Technophile.
We just can't keep our hands off of them. We spend all day touching them. Our fingers know their every curve and nuance. And so it goes to reason that they ought to be a little more responsive. That's what Microsoft is thinking with two new species of mouse. The IntelliMouse Explorer is the titanium-looking one here. It uses its red Intella Eye, an optical sensor, to scan whatever's underneath it 1,500 times a second. You can use yourself as a mouse pad. Now, it won't work on glass or other featureless surfaces, but it's nice that there's no mouse ball to get all gunked up, leaving your cursor caught in a trap. The little wheel is so you can scroll through web pages. It's not a new feature, but it alone is a good reason to upgrade. And Apple lovers, this is the first Windows mouse that'll work with your USB Power Macintosh. To find the titanium IntelliMouse Explorer in stores for about $75, this white version with no extra buttons for about $55. Microsoft's other new mouse has a ball, but no tail. Actually, Microsoft knew that many of us are tired of yanking on our tangled-up mice. And so they built this one with a radio receiver that can stay under your desk, up to 5 feet away. It's about $40 at retail. The new mice will be in computer stores by the time you see this. You can check them out for yourself and see how they run. That's Technophile.
Well, Well, you don't need a mouse to find today's best sound bites.
Just don't touch your clicker. We'll be right back.
Technophile is brought to you by Dell, direct computer solution from the company that pioneered direct around the world. Be direct, Dell.
3 years ago, my IT guys told me there'd be two kinds of businesses. Those with a vision to master the internet, and those without. And we didn't want to be the second kind. So we called Dell. Dell came to see us and showed us how to use the internet for direct relationships with our customers, suppliers, everyone who's a part of our business. With Dell support, there's no limit to where we can go. We always knew we needed the internet. We just didn't know how badly.
Be direct. Dell. Dell servers use Intel Pentium 3 processors.
We interrupt this program for an important news break. NCI Now offers 5 cents a minute every day, so you can call every evening and all weekend long. Bugs?
This is big news.
Right, Bugs. Just 5 cents. Mere change.
Change is good.
To sign up, just punch in 1-800 every day.
If I punch. Ow. Man, what a ham.
Call 1-800 every day to join.
We're not caught up in the hype of technology. We're just using it.
Corporations are slower than we are.
We are 1 million individuals.
We're modern capitalist mavericks.
We're shattering the old broker universe.
$7.95 stock trades, low margin interest rates, comprehensive research, SureTrade.com, a smart tool for smart investors.
The World Wide Web. 40 million sites, 800 million pages, 60 billion words. And one search engine that prioritizes, categorizes, and organizes it into neat little folders. Northern Light, just what you've been searching for.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Hey, boy, wanna go for a little walk? Get a little exercise.
Again?
Hi, Steve. I didn't expect to see you this morning.
Yeah, right. You call this exercise? This is getting my heart rate up.
Oh, yeah, he loves these walks. Don't you, boy?
Sure. Good cardio.
Feel better?
Way better.
Now it's my turn.
Now that's a workout. Hey, Steve. Come on, boy. Want to go for a walk? Get real. Get a treadmill.
Get to NordicTrack.com and save $300 on the PT 1750 treadmill.
The myth of the poor people.
The International Magna Carta. We shall be free someday.
Ray Kroc was amazing. You know, he changed the way we eat, and he did it by creating the concept of franchising in essence. And his whole idea of how to build something that can be duplicated around the world could be related back to Henry Ford, really. He just took it to a different environment.
The last 50 years have been dominated in the retail market by the growth of mass market, franchising, chains, that sort of thing. It's changed the nature of Main Street, of mom and pop businesses.
Ray Kroc did it all for you. He created the concept of modern fast food. The idea that if you systematize the way you make hamburgers, the way you make milkshakes, the way you make French fries, then it's quick and everybody will know what to expect wherever they go.
Ray was a beautiful, old-fashioned entrepreneur who kept it simple, even as his institution got big and giant.
Standardized mass marketing was probably the most significant change in how we do small business and retailing in this country, and the great symbol of that was Ray Kroc.
This Voices of the Millennium is presented by Lincoln, American Luxury.
Lincoln, LS.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but sometimes words can be pretty interesting. Case in point, tonight's sound bites.
I guess the one comforting thing about this transaction is I'm not the only cowboy anymore. Bill doesn't get credit for it, but he's every bit as much a cowboy as I am. We both have rented shoes on.
Make drugs a controlled substance, just like alcohol. Let the government regulate it. Let the government grow it. Let the government manufacture it, distribute it, market it. If that doesn't lead to decreased drug use, I don't know what will.
I guess NASA's still pretty embarrassed about losing that space satellite. Did you hear how they lost it? Do you know the reason? I guess this is true. It's the simplest mistake. One group of scientists was using the metric system of measurement. The other group was using the English system, and they never got together. That's true. Really? And today, George W. Bush said if he is elected president, that sort of mistake will never happen again because his whole life he's converting ounces into kilos. He knows exactly that would never happen again.
Ooh, that hurt.
Ooh, I'm not going to touch that. Fred Hickman, please help us out. We had some baseball today. What happened?
Well, I'm not touching it either. The playoffs, indeed, though, have begun in Major League Baseball. We're going to have a full report from the Braves' loss to the Houston Astros and highlights of tonight's Yankees-Rangers game. From the NFL, Jimmy Johnson points a finger at Dan Marino for last night's loss to Buffalo. We're going to hear from the coach. And are Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez worth $250 million? Yes, $billion. We'll have a report when Sports Tonight begins at the top of the hour.
Fred, thank you. Tomorrow night, best-selling author and crime reporter Dominic Dunn opens his scrapbooks and his mind to Newsstand's Judd Rose.
I've always had this fascination with upper crust murder. It's always been upper crust. I got to tell you, there's the snob in me about that. Street crime has never had quite the fascination for me that mansion crime has.
Great title, Confessions of a Well-Known Name Dropper, tomorrow on Newsstand. I'm Stephen Frazier.
And I'm Carol Lynn. Good night.
Sunday at 10 Eastern on CNN.
Everything we do affects everything around us, which is why it's so important to take care of Oregon's forests, to protect our streams and replant trees. Oregon forest and wildlife protection laws already require replanting and stream protection, and scientists are helping us find new ways to do an even better job. Because we depend on our forests for all kinds of things, including inspiration. Find out for yourself. Rediscover Oregon's forests.
This is the coast that's cherished by the tribe that built the casino, that created the fund, that gives to the program, that gathers the people, that clean up the coast.
Cleaning up Oregon's beaches and rivers in a partnership with Solve. Another example of giving back to Oregonians by the Grand Ronde Tribe and Spirit Mountain Community Fund.
What's a Freeman Wellwood? A different kind of discount broker. No churn and burn. Or costly roundabout answers. You get free information and great rates by phone, the internet, or at a local office from a real live broker. So,